Letter 208 by Charles Lamb. P.M. illegible, Sept 19, 1814. My dear W., I have scarce time or quiet to explain my present situation, how unquiet and distracted it is. Owing to the absence of some of my compeers, and to the deficient state of payments at EIH owing to bad peace speculations in the calico market, I write this to W.W.S., collector of stamp duties for the conjoint northern counties, not to W. Poet. I go back, and have for this many days past, to evening work, generally at the rate of 9 hours a day. The nature of my work too, puzzling and hurrying, has so shaken my spirits, that my sleep is nothing but a succession of dreams of business I cannot do, of assistants that give me no assistance, of terrible responsibilities. I reclaimed your book, which Hazlitt has uncivilly kept, only 2 days ago, and have made shift to read it again with shattered brain. It does not lose, rather some parts have come out with a prominence I did not perceive before, but such was my aching head yesterday, Sunday, that the book was like a mountain landscape to one that should walk on the edge of a precipice. I perceived beauty dizzily. Now what I would say is that I see no prospect of a quiet half-day or hour even till this week and the next are past. I then hope to get 4 weeks' absence, and if then is time enough to begin, I will most gladly do what you require, though I feel my inability, for my brain is always desultory and snatches off hints from things, but can seldom follow a work methodically. But that shall be no excuse. What I beg you to do is to let me know from Southey, if that will be time enough for the quarterly, i.e. suppose it done in 3 weeks from this date, 19 Sept. If not, it is my bounden duty to express my regret and decline it. Mary thanks you and feels highly grateful for your patent of nobility, and acknowledges the author of Excursion as the legitimate fountain of honour. We both agree that to our feeling Ellen is best as she is. To us there would have been something repugnant in her challenging her penance as a dowry. The fact is explicable, but how few to whom it could have been rendered explicit. The unlucky reason of the detention of Excursion was Hazlitt and we having a misunderstanding. He blowed us up about 6 months ago, since which the union hath snapped, but M. Burney borrowed it for him, and after reiterated messages I only got it on Friday. His remarks had some vigour in them, particularly something about an old ruin being too modern for your primeval nature, and about a lichen, but I forget the passage, but the whole wore a slovenly air of dispatch and disrespect. That objection which M. Burney had imbibed from him about Voltaire, I explained to M.B. or tried exactly on your principle of its being a characteristic speech, that it was no settled comparative estimate of Voltaire with any of his own tribe of buffoons, no injustice even you spoke it, for I dared say you never could relish Candide. I know I tried to get through it about a 12-month since, and couldn't for the dullness. Now I think I have a wider range in buffoonery than you, too much toleration perhaps. I finished this after a raw ill-backed dinner, fast gobbled up, to set me off to office again after working there till near 4. Oh Christ, how I wish I were a rich man, even though I was squeezed camel fashion at getting through that needle's eye that is spoken of in the written word. Apropos, are you a extian, or is it the pedlar and the priest that are? I find I miscalled that celestial splendour of the mist going off a sunset. That only shows my inaccuracy of head. Do pray indulge me by writing an answer to the point of time mentioned above, or let Southey. I am ashamed to go bargaining in this way, but indeed I have no time I can reckon on till the first week in Octar. God send I may not be disappointed in that. Coleridge swore in letter to me he would review Excon in the quarterly. Therefore, though that shall not stop me, yet if I can do anything when done, I must know of him if he has anything ready, or I shall fill the world with loud exclaims. I keep writing on, knowing the postage is no more for much writing, else so fagged and disjointed I am with damned India housework, I scarce know what I do. My left arm reposes on Excursion. I feel what it would be in quiet. It is now a sealed book. O happy Paris, seat of idleness and pleasure! From some returned English I hear that not such a thing as a counting-house is to be seen in her streets, scarce a desk. Earthquakes swallow up this mercantile city and its gripple merchants, as Drayton hath it, born to be the curse of this brave isle. I invoke this not on account of any parsimonious habits the mercantile interest may have, but to confess truth, because I am not fit for an office. Farewell in haste from a head that is ill to methodize, a stomach to digest and all out of tune. Better harmonies await you. Wordsworth had been appointed in 1813 distributor of stamps for the county of Westmoreland. Lamb is writing again about the Excursion, which at the instigation of Southey, to whom Wordsworth had made the suggestion, he is to review for the quarterly. Hazlitt and we having a misunderstanding, the precise cause of the trouble we do not know, but in Crabbe Robinson's diary in 1811, it is said that a slight coolness had begun between the two men on account of money, which Lamb did not feel justified in lending to Hazlitt. Between 1811 and 1814, however, they were friendly again. It was Hazlitt's hostile attitude to Wordsworth that brought about Robinson's split with him, although that also was mended. Literary men are short haters. Hazlitt reviewed the excursion from Lamb's copy, which in itself was a cause of grievance, in the Examiner in 3 numbers, August 21, 28 and October 2. Wordsworth had described Candide in Book Roman 2 as the dull product of a scoffer's pen. Hazlitt wrote thus: "We cannot, however, agree with Mr. Wordsworth that Candide is dull. It is, if our author pleases, the production of a scoffer's pen, or it is anything but dull. Rasselas indeed is dull, but then it is privileged dullness. It may not be proper in a grave, discreet, orthodox, promising young divine, who studies his opinions in the contraction or distension of his patron's brow, to allow any merit to a work like Candide. But we conceive that it would have been more in character, that is, more manly in Mr. Wordsworth, nor do we think it would have hurt the cause he espouses, if he had blotted out the epithet, after it had peevishly escaped him. Whatsoever savours of a little narrow inquisitorial spirit does not sit well on a poet and a man of genius. The prejudices of a philosopher are not natural." Lamb himself made the same criticism 3 years later at Haydon's dinner party. Hazlitt had also said of the excursion that, "Such is the severe simplicity of Mr. Wordsworth's taste, that we doubt whether he would not reject a druidical temple, or time-hallowed ruin, as too modern and artificial for his purpose. He only familiarizes himself or his readers with a stone, covered with lichens, which has slept in the same spot of ground from the creation of the world, or with the rocky fissure between 2 mountains, caused by thunder, or with a cavern scooped out by the sea. His mind is, as it were, coeval with the primary forms of things, holds immediately from nature, and his imagination owes no allegiance but to the elements. Ayua extian, referring to the sentiments of Wanderer and the Pastor, 2 characters of the excursion. A sunset, see preceding letter to Wordsworth. Here should come a letter from Lamb to Southey, dated October 20, 1814, stating that Lamb has deposited with Mr. Grosvenor Bedford, Southey's friend and correspondent, his review of the excursion. Who can cram into a straight coop of a review any serious idea of such a vast and magnificent poem?